So, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's really the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It is free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your mobile phone or computer. Anchor will actually distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from the podcast as well with no minimum listenership. So it is everything you need to make a podcast in one single place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It's May 26, 2020 on a Tuesday evening. Hope everyone's Memorial Day went well. I know mine did. You know why? Because I went out. I went out for the first time since early March. Yes, so yesterday I met up with three other friends of mine. We barbecued, we ate, we had a few drinks, we laughed, we talked it up and just had a good time. So all while being very vigilant and practicing social distancing. So I hope you all had a great time as well. Hey, listen, we have a good segment tonight coming up. My once a week sidekick will be here. The commissioner, she will be here joining me. We're going to talk about mental health. Yes, May is Mental Health Month. For those of you who may not have known that, the month of May is Mental Health Month, where we recognize mental health. So stick around and we'll be right back. All right, everybody, this is episode 9. I'm actually going to make this the season finale of season 1 of the Chill Spot.
The series finale.
Right? The season finale, right? This is like 9 episodes into season 1. I don't know how many, I guess it just depends on the person, how many episodes they want per season. But I'm going to let this 9 be the final season. And then
you might as well go ahead and do 10 and let it be the
final.
Know
what? I like stuff even, maybe so, because I do want to talk about, everything that's going on that's been put me on the depressing side, which is a good caveat into what we're going to talk about today, which is mental illness. So tonight we're going to talk about mental illness. May is Mental Illness Awareness Month, and it's something that we need to have a conversation about, of course. So Commissioner, thank you so much for wanting to talk about this tonight, because it's such a taboo conversation to have, especially among our community, as you know. So
exactly.
It's a condition that hits a lot of us. Some of us have a condition that we may live with for the rest of our lives, and it could be more of short term because of something outside that's causing it. So tell me why this is so important to you in particular.
Well, as you said, this is Mental Health Awareness Month, and what we want to do is silence the shame and break the stigma of mental health illness. And why this is very important to me is because I do suffer from bipolar depression, as well as ADHD, and probably some other shit that's somewhere up in there. And so what I found is that within my own family, it was just a funny topic. When I was younger, it was always a running joke that I was Sybil. And I don't know if anybody out there remembers the movie Sybil, the character was actually a schizophrenic person who lived with like over maybe 100 personalities, but her name was Sybil. And anytime I would catch like one of my moods, the whole running joke was, oh, Sybil is out, Sybil's in full force, Sybil is here, Sybil is this, that, and third. And so it was actually a joke for the longest, and nobody ever addressed to me that maybe you have a problem.
Right.
And so it wasn't until maybe last year that I really actually went and started to seek help for the issues that I was facing. Because 4 years ago, for like 4 years ago, I was running like the Wild West. Like, I didn't know that it was something wrong with me. I was literally like living life 10 steps ahead of the game. And as long as I was 10 steps ahead, I was cool. You know what I'm saying? I was cool with surviving off of minimum sleep. I was cool with jumping from job to job for stupid shit at that. Like leaving a job for stupid shit. Like I made some really, really fucked up decisions.
Right.
In those 2 years. And it wasn't until I got back with Verizon and shit started to really trigger me. Like, I was easily triggered, but I was already easily triggered.
Mm.
However, there were things within the job and talking to other people that triggered me more. You know what I'm saying? And so I had a friend who died. And actually, she's a mutual friend of ours. And her name was Cheryl.
Oh, yeah. I remember Cheryl. I remember when she passed.
Yes.
She passed away in her home.
Well, I didn't know. I have no idea what happened. But me and Cheryl started back at Verizon together. She was with AT&T. I was coming from New York or whatever with my job or whatnot. And we both had this vast experience. So we both, we took to each other. Even though she was I used to call her Mother Love. Because she used to stay on my ass. She used to keep me in line.
Yeah, she had that type of spirit.
Well, nobody...
Yeah,
she was probably the only person who could keep me in line. She could tell me, you know what I'm saying, shut your ass up, and I would probably listen to her. But what happened is that I had started dealing with someone, and our communication had won. And I ended up changing my number, and I kept saying to myself, I got to call Cheryl, I got to call Cheryl. I got to call Cheryl, I got to call Cheryl. I got to text her. I let her know my number changed. For about 3 weeks, I did that. And because we at this point, I think we were both working really different schedules because we used to meet up and go to lunch.
Right.
And one day I was at work, and I'll never forget, it was a Friday. And I was at work, and I just happened to, in between calls, to be scrolling Facebook, and I see that my friend died. And I was like, I know I'm not seeing what the fuck I'm seeing. There's got to be another Cheryl Hunter. Yes. This person, because it was tagged in it, we both had mutual friends, me and her. And I clicked on her name and it went straight to her page, and it didn't say add friends, so it was her. And that shit blew me. You know what I'm saying? It really fucking blew me. It fucked with me more than anything. You know what I'm saying? And from that point, I was like, I need to talk to somebody. And when I went and made the appointment, we started talking. And next thing I know, I come out on Prozac and all this other kind of bullshit.
Yeah. Was that the breaking point for you to finally seek help?
Yeah. It was the breaking point to seek help, but it was not the breaking point to where I realized that, bitch, you kind of fucked up. Some of the things you do just ain't normal. You know what I'm saying? That breaking point didn't come till I cursed out a customer with Verizon.
You knew it was on then. You had to get some help.
Well, that's when I knew, bitch, because I knew I was going to get fired for that call. I don't know what it was about that call, and that's the call I got fired for. I got fired for that call. But I just knew, because I told the motherfucker, you do know that I know where you live, right?
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? I knew at that point, because he was in New York. He was in Brooklyn, as a matter of fact. The customer was in Brooklyn. I'm very, very familiar with Brooklyn.
Definitely.
And I was just like, motherfucker, I will show up at your goddamn house.
Oh,
you know what
you
I'm saying?
brutal.
I was brutal. Nigga, I got your fucking person. It's not wise to fucking curse out and tell a motherfucker what you gonna do and what I'm not gonna do. And I got your whole jacket in front of me. You just don't talk crazy to call center people, because we got all your information.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I ended up hanging up on him because it was actually my off day and I was making up time. So I was like Smokey from Craig from Friday. I got fired on my off day, which was supposed to be my off day. But I didn't get fired immediately. They had to go through some channels, and I had took back off. And that's when I realized, okay, you got to take this serious.
Right. It was really serious at that point.
Right, because I had never clicked really I had, I ain't gonna lie, I had kind of clicked out on my jobs a little bit, but to actually tell a customer that, because most time when I would click out, it would be towards one of my coworkers, whatever, because they done fucking pissed me off on some shit.
Exactly.
But when I realized that I was fucking with my own income, now really, I'm fucking there's no way I can get around this. It's a recorded call or whatever, and I was just like, you know what? All right, something is definitely. Running a mass.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, during those meetings or those sessions you had, with the therapist, what were some of the things that they would ask you to really make you think? Or was it something that gave you an aha moment that you got from any of your therapists?
Well, I'm still waiting for that aha. I think I had my own aha moment.
Right.
Honestly, because if you go back, because I've actually spoke about this openly on Facebook with my stats or my posts or whatever. My first therapist, I don't know if she just was a sheltered individual and everything I told her was just funny as hell because she laughed more in my sessions than I think she should have. So I didn't really have an aha moment. I did have a moment where she said, your issues are out of my league. And that I needed to speak with somebody who was able to handle her, only because she dealt with kids mostly, and adolescents.
Okay.
And that's the reason why. And so now I'm with a therapist. I actually going to seek seeing a new therapist tomorrow. As a matter of fact, I have my first therapy session. But I have changed psychiatrists, and what we have talked about during the psychiatry, which is called medical management, when you go and see your psychiatrist, so they can figure out the medicines that work for you. And I've been through several medicines, and as we talk about mental health, wellness, and mental health, I want to tell you about my experience with with the different medications I've been on. And so with med management, when you talk to your psychiatrist, it's not really a therapy session, but you do talk about stuff so they know what's going on. And I told my therapist, like, because I think I've been misdiagnosed. I think I'm just ADHD. I don't think I'm bipolar. Like, you know what I'm saying? I told her this. I really we're sitting there on telemed. I was like, I really think we've been misdiagnosed because I took an Adderall and I felt great. But when I take the medicine you prescribe me, nothing happens. And she's like, well, first of all, I want to tell you that you are bipolar. You are bipolar. And I have noticed some changes, like good changes in you. She was like, with bipolar, you have manic phases and you have low manic moments and low moments or whatever. And my thing is that when I get manic or whatever, my moods are very irrational. I'm irrational in behavior. I'm irritable. I do things that I normally I know like I should not do. You know what I'm saying? Like right now I'm more responsible. Man, 4 years ago I used to fucking buy shoes with my rent money. What are you talking about? Like
that's
irrational. Exactly. That irrational, that irresponsible. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So I know she sees some things. I'm just not feeling it yet. You know what I'm saying? I'm a caregiver for my mom, so I still get kind of irritated with her because she had a stroke, so she can't speak very well. And I get irritated with that sometimes. Me and her kind of we butt heads, but I believe that's just natural. I believe you are who you are, but certain things when you have a mental illness, it expands it more. It makes it kind of puts a light on it. You know what I'm saying? But you are who you are. If you're not a patient person already, going to seek help or going to seek help mentally for your mental illness or mental well-being is not going to make you a patient person. That's true. What I'm saying? Those are things, so you are who you are in this world. But there are some things when you go and seek help and seek treatment or whatever that they're working on. And they give you a guided plan. Like they tell you things that, they guide you, they help you, they talk to you, things that, we shouldn't. I don't want to talk to my friends about this because they're not licensed. Don't talk to me about this.
That's right.
Because I ain't licensed. I'm gonna tell you, call me if you feeling down. If you feeling to the point where you want to jump off a ledge, call me.
But there's a
don't
line.
Call me talking about your,
there's a line.
Yeah, there's a line. Don't call me talking about your shit because I'm not licensed and I don't want to tell you the wrong thing and then be responsible.
Exactly.
What I'm saying? So
do you ever get into those phases to where one of those the moments, or you feel that one of those moments coming on and you haven't taken your medication? Have you ever been reluctant? Because I know some people who take those type of medications, they don't want to be on those medications, so they don't take them. And they get to the point to where people are like, are you not on your meds? What's going on? Do you have those type of feelings where you just don't want to take your medication?
I never had a feeling that I don't want to take it. Now I have had feelings where I'm like, yo, this shit ain't working. You know what I'm saying? And at that point, you stop taking it. Don't continue to take it or whatever. You stop taking it and you contact your provider. And a lot of people don't get that, and so they what they do is they'll stop taking it and they'll just completely forego therapy and treatment, all together because that medicine. Because what it is that it can take a person a year or more to figure out what medicine and what dosage and what works for them. And it could take some people 2 weeks to figure out that this works for
Yeah.
me. You know what
How
I'm
long did
saying?
it take for them
So
to get a medication that works for you? How long was that trial period?
we're still in that trial
Oh,
period.
okay.
Yeah, we're still in it. We have tried several different medications from one psychiatrist to another. With this one, she thinks that the medication that she has me on right now, which is called Latuda, you see
I've heard of
commercials on
Latuda.
it.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, she had me on Abilify first, and then she had me on Latuda.
Okay. Yep.
Abilify did nothing for me but piss me off.
Really? Oh, yeah. Abilify is very popular. So they did nothing for you but just piss you off.
Right,
Okay.
right. And Latuda, it helps me sleep through the night. I'm getting sleep because a lot of times when I'm manic, I don't get enough sleep.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm sleeping through the night with Latuda. And so for me, I'm still, to answer your question, I'm still in that trial period. I've never been reluctant to not take the medicine, but if I feel after a week or after 2 weeks or even 30 days, if I feel that this medicine is no longer serving me, I'm gonna stop taking it and I'm gonna contact my provider, because I made that mistake before. Because one of the first medicines, now this is funny
Yeah.
shit here. One of the first medicines the guy put me on, the first psychiatrist put me on, that shit had me loony than a motherfucker.
Oh, what
I,
medication was that?
I can't even remember what medication it was.
Right.
But it had some type of because they have medicines that have psychiatric drugs within it.
Okay.
And then it has some, even though they're all like mental medications,
Right.
there's some that has particular drugs in it for psych
For your sight, what they call a
issues
psyche.
or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for your
Because it's all about trying to
psychiatric.
get whatever it is to balance the chemical in the
Yes,
brain, right? Okay.
You're trying to have a balance there,
Right.
right? And one of them, I guess I may have, because one thing about African Americans is that we metabolize drugs slower than others because of our genetic makeup. So maybe I metabolized it so slowly where I'm taking it, I'm taking doses, and the first 2 doses are still metabolizing in my system, and now I'm having these side effects.
Right.
Well, one night I was asleep, and I thought the police was at my window.
Oh.
A bitch woke up tearing up
it had you.
It had me
hallucinating. Yeah.
It had me seeing shit. It had me hallucinating and seeing shit and hearing things. There were multiple instances where I thought somebody was in my house. I know for a fact, Princess, for 7 months I could not sleep with my lights off.
Wow.
I would have to sleep with the closet light on, or I would sleep with the hall light on and leave my bedroom, or I would just simply sleep with my bed with my TV on.
Right.
Just so I could go to sleep. Because if I slept in complete darkness, shit just seemed to start happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's why I learned to when I told him that, and I was like, because he asked me, he said, "Are you still taking that medicine?" I was like, "No." He was like, "Why?" And I told him, he was like, "Next time when you have things like that happen, you stop immediately taking that medicine and you contact me." So they'll tell you, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
All you have to do is listen. And I know that there's a lot of healthcare providers out there that are inadequate, and they give you misdiagnosis and they're not listening to you,
right,
or whatever. But some of them are listening to you, especially when it comes to psychiatry or whatever. Some of them, they are listening to you, because these meds can be dangerous.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They do have some dangerous
suicidal thoughts. I know a lot of them.
Yeah.
If it gets that bad. Let me ask you this, because I know a lot of people talk about, as far as the provider. Do you think it's important that we as Black people have a doctor or a psychiatrist who is a person of color?
That's a great question, because I thought about that earlier today when I knew we was going to do this episode.
Yeah.
And to me, I just think that you get somebody you're comfortable with, regardless of their color.
Okay.
It's about your comfort level. I didn't have anybody of color. My first 2 go rounds, because I had a go round back in 2008, 2009.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have anybody of color until now. I don't know the color. I don't know the race of my therapist because I haven't met her yet. My first session is tomorrow, but my psychiatrist now is a young Black lady.
Okay. Good. Oh, you're going in and out.
That what she tells me, I'm comfortable with her diagnosis. I'm comfortable with her treatment plan or whatever. It's all about comfort level. You find somebody who is comfortable to you. And I know a lot of people who don't go or don't seek help because they got God or they got Jesus or they got the church or whatever. And that's fine. That's all well and dandy. But they do have faith-based therapists as well. So if, what we need to understand is that God put therapists here for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Because
that's what I was going to say. I mean, God created these people
there.
with this
You
knowledge.
can have it as well. You can have God as well as, or in conjunction to, with your therapy. There's nothing wrong with having your faith. I applaud people who can stand on their faith. Right. I don't have a lot of faith. I'm gonna say I'm not have a lot of faith, but I'm not a religious nut. Or I'm more spiritual. I'm a spiritual fruit, not a religious nut. I don't do Christianity or any of those big name religions. I just believe in treating people how I treat them. So I'm more spiritual, and I find that when you find somebody who you're comfortable with, you stick with them until you're not comfortable anymore. Until they start doing something that kind of give you that that shit don't seem right moment. Then you move on.
You need to move on.
Saying? So,
exactly.
Does race have anything to do with it? It may have some for some people. Myself, no, it did not. Does faith have a lot to do with it? No, not for me. But they do have faith-based therapists and faith-based psychiatrists that will be right in line with your faith, Christian faith, whatever faith you practice.
Yeah. So there's something out there for
exactly
each and every one of us. If you look for faith-based, you got it. It's non-faith-based, you got it, and all of that. Okay, good. I think it's important, especially for people of color like us, to know that there are other people out there who are experiencing these type of things. I look at myself, when I was in 5th and 6th grade, I was like 10 or 11. I would have to walk to a therapist after school. And, at age 10 or 11, I don't know why. I just know my mom signed me up to see a therapist. And the therapist's office was right up the street from the elementary school I went to school at. So I would walk there after school. And I remember playing checkers with this guy. And I play these little board games. And he would have conversation with me. Hey, how was school? And all of that. And I started getting comfortable, with this therapist. So this happened for maybe about 4 or 5 months, I believe. But then my mom took me out. But I still didn't know at that age why she had me going to a counselor after school. And then recently I was talking to my mom because I'm on blood pressure medication. And I was like, why am I the only one on blood pressure medication? I wonder if it's because I really don't have blood pressure issues. Maybe it could be anxiety that's causing my blood pressure to go up. And my mom told me, she said, when you were in school, I had you going to see a psychiatrist or a therapist for your anxiety. And I thought back to when I was in 5th and 6th grade, and I was going to see this therapist each and every day for a few months. And she said, you hated being around people that was not your immediate family or relatives. I would immediately close up and I get, anxiety. She said, I remember telling you that, hey, we're going to go to McDonald's, but we're going to eat inside. And I would immediately get nervous because I knew I was going to have to be around people that I didn't know. And she said, you've grown out of that, which I have grown out of that. Some things you grow out of. But I do still have those anxiety on certain things, like going to the airport. I have anxiety about airports, about going through security checkpoint. I get nervous. My blood pressure goes up and all of that. Not getting on a plane. I'm good when I get on a plane. No issues at all. It's just heading to the airport. If my flight is at 4 p.m., I'm at the airport at 11 a.m. in the morning. So I don't miss my flight. So it's just overthinking and that over anxiety. So I went to go see a therapist last year. Greatest thing I've ever done. When I tell you she brought the tears out of me that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, they can do that.
I mean, I'm like, wait a minute, where are these tears coming from? I mean, it was just real tears, and she was asking me these questions, and my mom, she raised us. She was a single mother for the most part of our kids, like
Childhood,
life as a
yeah.
kid. Childhood. And so she would ask me these questions. Oh, how did you feel being kind of the man of the house and all of this? And she was pulling it out of me. All of a sudden, I just burst into tears. I'm like, wow. But you know what? It felt good afterwards.
And that's the thing. I want to
Release
say,
that tension.
let it be known that you don't always have to be suffering from a mental illness to seek therapy. You don't. There's no, and your job have these things. It's called the
EAP for a lot of them.
EAP.
Yeah.
And they encourage you to go and talk to someone, because sometimes you could just be holding some shit in and you just need to get it out. And you'll be amazed about how much better you feel just getting it out, just sitting and talk. Because sometimes what I've learned is that it's easier sometimes to talk to a stranger. It's easier to talk to somebody that you may not see again, that is not close to you. You don't sleep with this person. You don't hang out with this person. They can't judge you. And if they are judging, you don't know it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You don't know it. Right.
So
they can't go tell somebody that you know. They can't go tell your friend, oh, he told me this.
So there's nothing wrong.
Exactly.
Even if you're not suffering anxiety, even if you're not suffering from panic attacks or any type of bipolar disorder, bipolar 1 or 2, or anything of that nature, PTSD, it's not anything wrong with going to talk to someone. I believe, that's the one thing, especially as Black men, like they tell you guys not to talk, not to share your feelings, to hold that shit in. And holding that shit in ain't good, because eventually it comes out, and it comes out in a negative way.
Yeah, it does.
And
in a volatile way.
In a very volatile way. And then next thing you know, like a lot of Black men were committing suicide at one point, holding shit in. Holding that shit in ain't good for you. That shit eats you. It literally eats you up on the inside. You start getting ailments that you don't know where the hell it's coming from. The doctor's prescribing you medicines for this, but in actuality, it's the shit that you're holding in. You're not letting it out.
That's right.
Shit, show your, talk about how you feel. Be a man.
Right.
That's the manliest thing, is to actually express and let a motherfucker know that whatever they're doing or not doing, to set you off. Because if you don't talk about it, nobody knows about it. You know what I'm saying? And we continue to, and whoever the person is, whoever your trigger is, continues to trigger your ass, and you just sitting there holding in.
That's right. Yeah, just holding in. That's dangerous.
Right.
That's very dangerous. This is some good conversation. Let's do this. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back. All right. For those of you just joining us, we're talking about mental health, and I have the commissioner here with me discussing about mental health, especially among the Black community. So definitely, I think before we took our break, we were talking about not just holding things in. Make sure you get it out, because it can be dangerous when you hold it in. So, is there anything that you learned throughout this experience?
Yeah.
That you can say.
Yeah. I mean, it's not even just learning things in the experience, but what you kind of figure out is that the shit that people said to you, like the shit that your elders used to say to you, when you were younger, and you had no fucking idea, these words of wisdom that just didn't make no fucking sense to you, And the one thing that really stands, two things actually that stands, that just stands out to me is some things that my dad used to tell me. He used to always tell me, misery loves company.
Yep.
And there's some miserable people out here that really need to seek some help. And,
that's right.
And also, when you're going through this, and I don't know how to explain it, because I'm not saying that while you're feeling what you're feeling, that you're miserable, but you'll start to see that you start to attract some of the same like-minded people.
Yep.
So it's good to keep somebody positive around you. It's good to keep that positive reinforcement around you. The second thing that I know is that let it roll off your back like a duck in water. I didn't
That's right.
forget the first time my dad said, I was like, Madea, I ain't no goddamn duck. But you pick and choose your battles. When I was going through mine, everything was a battle. Like, I'm gonna battle your ass to the end. I got time because I ain't got a job, or I'm calling out from this motherfucker to battle your ass. You know what I'm saying? So you pick and choose. You have to let some shit just have to roll off your back. You know what I'm saying? You gotta like take it in stride. You know, eat it and pick and choose your battles. And those are the two things that, since going through this, that I have come to realize are like the golden nuggets of my life. Because there are times, Prince, where I am out and about. Just like last week, I was out and I was at Sonic and I was pulling out and nobody was behind me. And all of a sudden, this truck want to come barreling out the stall and I'm blowing my horn. And I'm like, what the fuck? And he's like, white guy, like, just shut up. And that shit, like, God talked to me earlier that day because I am licensed to carry, but I'm probably the wrong motherfucker to be carrying. Because at that point, I would have got out the car and just immediately, you know, and that shit stuck with me. And I don't know why it stuck with me so. And so I'm still learning, but I didn't react. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
right.
That was the big thing. It may have stuck with me for a while, but I didn't react to it because 4 years ago, I'd have reacted and been in somebody's county.
That's
you know?
right.
So, those are just the golden nuggets of my life, you know. Right. And I'm sure that somebody out there can relate to this.
Oh, absolutely.
But you pick and choose your own battle, and you keep positive reinforcement in your life. Don't continue to wallow in the mud with the same individuals feeling miserable, because all they're gonna do is keep you miserable. That's right. Then it becomes to the point where you so miserable, and you've been miserable so long that it seems normal to you.
That's right.
You know, this negative behavior starts to seem normal. And a lot of people are going through that right now. They're doing things in life, or they're moving in throughout their relationships, their friendships, their association, their work relationships, and they're doing shit that's really and truly fucked up, but they don't see that. They don't see how it's affecting them, and it's become so fucking normal to them that they don't realize this is really some abnormal shit. I need to go and talk to somebody about this. Nobody's had the guts to sit them down and tell them how fucked up the shit that they're doing. You know, that's just one part of it, though. You know,
that's right.
So
that's right, and especially in our community, we tend to hold so much in. We hold on to things. We don't forgive, and a lot of that stays in our heads. And I mean, the other person that we're mad at is all good and dandy. They're living their life, but we're holding on to something, foaming at the mouth every time we see them. I mean, it's just crazy.
Right.
We have that issue, especially in our community, that it seems, in my opinion.
And I still wonder about that. But, you know, what I wanted to say about our community is that I don't understand. I never really sitting down and thinking about it. Why so many people are so hell bent against seeking therapy or going and talking to someone, because we are a people who have endured so much, and we still are enduring, and we still are. We've gone through slavery, we've gone through Jim Crow, and now we got this new shit.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? The socioeconomic parts of socioeconomic factors.
Systemic racism.
You got systemic racism, the microaggressions. We're dealing with so much as a people. How can you not feel that you don't need to speak to somebody? Right. How can you not feel? I know you're feeling overwhelmed. Even if you make tons of money, even if you have a good life, you still, as a Black person in America, whether you're West Indian, whether you're African American, or whether you just simply African living in America,
right,
you still face these issues.
That's right.
As a person of color. So how can you feel that you don't need to go and seek and talk to someone, even if you're not feeling like you got a major issue?
That's right.
You still have some issues.
You still have some issues. You don't have to be on medication.
Right. Why should you constantly feel anxiety when the police drive by?
Right.
You know, because, and I get it. Like, you don't know if you're going to come home that day. You know what I'm saying? If the police pull you over, you don't know what's in store for you.
Nope.
But then again, it could be just a good. It could be a good encounter. You know what I'm saying? There's still some. Don't shoot me for saying there's still some good cops out there, but they're overshadowed.
There is. Yep, there is.
You know, and I'm just using that as an example because of what's going on today. It's like it's sad.
Yeah, it really is.
This COVID-19, and then you got this. As a person of color, you got to deal with all of this shit. You know, you got to deal with the fact that as Black people, we're dying more. We're the ones that's really dying from COVID-19. As Black people, we're the ones that's really dying unarmed at the hands of white cops in uniform. As Black people, we're the ones that's feeling all of the negative effects of America.
That's right.
We're the ones that feel it the most.
Mm-hmm. Someone mentioned today, we have COVID-19 that's destroying the lungs of Black people to where we can't breathe. And now we have a brother that died the other day because he couldn't breathe.
Eric Gardner died because he couldn't breathe.
He died because he couldn't breathe. I mean, it's just, where do we go? Where do we start? And you got the people on the streets of Minneapolis who are going ham. With the rioting. I mean, at some point, I know everybody wants to say, we don't want to fight violence with violence, but look, what do you do?
I'm not gonna push violence, but I'm gonna tell you that if it happens, I understand why.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I have an understanding, definitely, and especially with the guy in Central Park in New York, with the run-in with should we call her Karen or her running
of Karen? What one of my friends call her of Karen, and I'm still trying to figure out. I asked her what the name of the novel was she got this from, but she calls her of Karen. It's OFKAREN, and I don't know what novel it comes from, but she's a Karen. Even her name is Amy. She's definitely a Karen. I don't know what the hell that woman was thinking about when she did that. But the crazy part about it is that those are the microaggressions. Those are the things that Black people deal with. You know what I'm saying?
On the daily.
Like you should have had your dog and you out here choking your dog, and it was just too much. And then to have the nerve to say she wasn't racist.
Yeah.
Then you just played your whole fucking race card.
She just played the race card big time, right there on camera, on video.
And she's a liberal. And that's what we have to look out for as a community. Like, I talked about this last week. We got some dope ass white people out here that's standing up for us, but the same people that are standing up for us
will use their privilege whenever it's convenient.
In a New York minute.
Absolutely.
So you gotta be careful about that.
I mean, we do. We got to. Commissioner, this has been a good conversation that we've had. I've enjoyed it. And I think that hopefully you guys that are listening were able to get something from this. And just know that when you're dealing with mental illness, is nothing to be ashamed of. It's nothing that you need to look down upon. Get help.
There's nothing wrong with seeking help. There's nothing wrong with it. And I want to say this before we go, is that if you are out there and you're feeling some type of way and you're feeling like you want to give up, just know that don't give up, because all the bullshit that you overcome will be for nothing. So don't give up. Talk to somebody, get some help.
Right.
Reach out.
Absolutely. I actually have a number here through Hope Line. For those who may want to talk to someone, if you having mental illness or you feeling some type of way, like you mentioned, I do have a number. The number is 877-235-4525. Again, this is called Hope Line, HOPELINE, Hope Line, 877-235-4525. Or you can text them as well.
All right, King Troy. Well, we're going to be out of this thing, and I appreciate the time that you've given me on your podcast. I hope the next season,
absolutely,
the next season is just as fire as this one was.
Definitely. And I appreciate all the support, people adding in, subscribing, and the commissioner. I'm waiting for your own podcast as well.
Hey, we're going to come in hot. We're going to come in hot in the middle of July.
Right, exactly.
Hot with an attitude at that.
I'm going to be looking forward to that.
And I'm going to be looking forward to sharing it with you guys, all right?
Perfect. All right. Enjoy the rest of your night. Again, thank you.
No problem. Thanks a lot. Peace.
Please be sure to add this podcast to your favorites and share with your friends. I would certainly appreciate it.